Today we're diving into a common challenge faced by property investors all around the world: how to find those elusive hidden gem deals. I know the feeling all too well, spending countless hours sifting through properties, analysing market trends and coming up empty-handed. But fear not. In this video I'm going to be giving you my #1 insider secret to strike gold in the property market, regardless of what's going on with prices, interest rates or inflation. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started in property, this could be the most important video you're going to watch this year as I spill the beans on the secret sauce that's enabled me to slash over £100,000 off my last 3 deals without even having to go out and view hundreds of properties, and how a very simple 3-part framework that I'm going to give you later in this video will allow you to do the same. And I'll also be giving you the key to actually unlock this strategy, which is something that the vast majority of investors don't even know about or do. So if you're tired of hitting dead ends in your property business, I want you to do yourself a favor, hit subscribe and that notification bell, and while you're at it, press the like button so we can help get this video out to other investors who need to see it. Because this channel is all about empowering you to take ownership of your future by giving you the skill set, the mindset, and the confidence to unlock the very best property deals in the current market. But before we dive into this framework, I want to show you just how powerful it is when you use it correctly. Because of course, it's not just about having a strategy, it's about how you can implement it to unlock massive value. So here's my latest property investment that I completed on just a couple of weeks ago. This is a mixed-use building in the middle of Chester, and it's a restaurant on the ground floor and 4 flats above. Now this property hit the market last year for £450,000, and when fully occupied, it's going to be generating over £50,000 a year rent roll. We can even see that the previous owner bought it in 2009 for £325,000. After several months of negotiation using the very same framework I'm going to teach you in this video, and the vendor saying to me that he'll never sell it for under £400,000, we completed on this for just £345,000. And this is not just a one-off deal. Before this, I bought another mixed-use development with 6 units in it. The day I bought it, it was valued at £435,000, but I managed to buy it for just £280,000. And here's the deal before that. Another building in Chester, this time it was a B&B with 14 ensuite rooms and a 2-bed flat. And initially this property was listed at over £950,000. I managed to buy this one for £765,000. Look, over the last 3 years, I've probably offered on no more than 10 properties, but I completed on 3 of them for a combined value of almost £500,000 less than they were listed for. So why, when others are struggling to go out and find good deals, is it possible to go out and buy deals like this with an almost 50% hit rate? Well, when I was researching this video, I asked ChatGPT to come up with a great analogy for me to explain this. And this is what it came up with. Finding great property deals is like striking gold in a vast mine. Just as miners explore, dig and search for valuable ores buried deep within the ground, property investors have to diligently research, analyse and search for those hidden gems of properties that are going to end up being fantastic deals. Miners must carefully inspect rock formations and mineral indicators, whilst property investors must analyse areas, market trends and potential to add value. But let's be honest, the problem with artificial intelligence is it has a habit of overcomplicating this. At the end of the day, it's just an advanced parrot right now and lacks that special thing that the human brain has, the ability to simplify the whole process. Because the reality is there's only one secret that has led to me doing almost every single property deal I've done in the last decade. And it's nothing to do with hours worth of research, number crunching and analysis. And that secret is ability to understand the seller's motivation. Look, I know this is so cliche, but property is fundamentally a people business. And if you can find the 3 ingredients that go into why somebody is selling their property, you are going to vastly increase your chances of landing a great deal. And here are those 3 ingredients. I call them the triad: timing, circumstance, leverage. So ingredient 1 is pretty simple. It's finding out how long a property's been on the market for. If it's just come to market, the chances of the seller wanting to give you a massive discount or give you the ability to buy with a creative deal structure are almost 0. Now it's important to say at this point that the best deals will always have the perfect blend of these 3 ingredients. But this doesn't mean they have to be equal and the other 2 ingredients can't outweigh the 3rd on occasion. So it's not impossible that a deal can't be done on a newly listed property. The seller's circumstances could have changed rapidly and you may have significant leverage. For example, a seller could be in serious mortgage arrears but have buried their head in the sand hoping that this issue is going to go away. All of a sudden the bank is about to repossess and they need a solution quickly, regardless of whether they've listed it yet or not. And very often the deals that I buy have taken 3 to 6 months of negotiation before we end up on a final price. Now in this video, I also want to give you some practical tips on how you can find these 3 ingredients without even having to leave your home. Personally, I adopt an 80-20 approach to property investing. Rather than playing the numbers, viewing hundreds of properties and offering 25% below market value on everything, I'd rather take the time to find the properties with a motivation to sell, uncover the circumstances, and then make my offer. So here's the simplest thing you can do to find how long an open market property has been around for. Log into Rightmove, search your area with the criteria you're looking for, and then filter by the oldest listed. Look, one of the things I love about property is just how simple this process is. So we've now identified ingredient 1, the timing of a deal. We now need to look at ingredient 2, which is the circumstances of that sale. Now, there are several reasons that somebody might want to sell you their property at a discount or using a creative deal structure. These usually fall into one of the 5 Ds: death, divorce, debt, displacement, or distress. Now, of course, look, a seller is not just going to write on their property listing or advertise to the world that they've got motivation to sell their property cheaply. So we need to understand and use the open source signposts that we can follow to start to uncover what's really going on. Now, there's lots of ways we can do this, but one specific one that I teach, staying with Rightmove, is to use open source and free plugins that show us the property's listing history. You can see that this property has been listed for almost 4 years, but actually hasn't had any reductions in price at all. Either this is a spurious listing, or the seller just isn't that motivated to sell right now. Let's compare that to this property, which is on the same page of the Rightmove search. Not only have there been 3 price reductions, there's also been 2 sales fallen through on this. Motivation is potentially very high. Of course, at this stage, we don't know exactly what the circumstances are, but the breadcrumbs have been laid that we can follow to identify now both the circumstance and the leverage to see if we can structure a deal that works for everybody. And that takes us to ingredient number 3, leverage. Let's talk through the leverage that I identified on the property that I just bought. Now here, the main sticking point was that 3 of the 4 flats are already rented out to tenants. Now this is not a massive issue in itself if you know what you're doing, but it does put off a large percentage of buyers. But the big leverage point here was that all 3 tenants have been in since the 90s, and both they and the landlord thought that they want protected tenancies on a very low rent that couldn't be increased. And we're talking probably 50% of current market rent here. Now look, I don't want to dive into the intricacies of tenancy law on this video, but when I did my initial appraisal and went through the documents, it seemed to me that actually they were on genuine ASTs, assured short hold tenancies. Basically what this means is we can put the rent up and evict if we have to, but the previous landlord didn't think this was possible, and so many buyers were put off. Now, sticking with 80/20 thinking, of course, these documents were passed over to my solicitors, who confirmed that they were rolling periodic assured short hold tenancies. And as this property will be revalued on a commercial product, having the ability to increase the rent will immediately increase the value of the property. Now, finding this property and those initial circumstances and leverage took me about 30 minutes. The subsequent negotiation took 3 months. And that is the final secret I want to give you today to help you find the best property deals. Because after you've appraised a deal and set the maximum price that you're prepared to pay for it, it's pretty unlikely the seller is just going to hand you over the keys at that price point. Now, I teach my own clients a very powerful offering structure that triples the chances of negotiating a successful deal. But that structure only works with another strategy called pipelining, which is a posh way of saying you need to keep following up with your deals until they either sell to you or somebody else. The problem with pipelining is it takes time, consistency, and discipline, which really is the secret sauce to investing like a professional. I'm sorry to disappoint, but there really is no magic hack or pill. Good things and the best deals come to those who wait. And if you want to see a case study on another of the properties I mentioned in this video, you can watch it right here.